Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajda Morning Coffee Talk. I got a light out above me. I hope you all can see me okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can see me okay. Um, be a friend, tell a friend. And we'll be right back on the other side of a few short commercials and a beautiful prayer. We're going to get into it. All right, Assalamu alaikum. We are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got a few technical difficulties happening here this morning, which has been happening more frequently. We went through a period where I never had any technical difficulties to where now it's becoming pretty regularly. I don't know what's up with that, but we'll figure it out. We'll get behind it. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I hope you all doing well. I hope you're excited of the culmination of all the things that we've been taught and been told about becoming gods and learning how to think and learning how to maneuver and learning how to move, all kind of coming together in 2026. Let me know if I'm echoing or delaying and actually need to like restart the feed. There's a few of you in the chat who may be looking. On my end, it's looking like I'm talking in slow motion. And I don't know if that's the effect that it's having on you guys as well. But if you let me know, we can take a few minutes and just restart the feed and see if that helps us. If you all say that it's a problem. But yeah, so that's how I'm looking at, 2026, like a challenge, a culmination. Okay, somebody said it's echoing for them. Anybody? And if it is, we'll just take a moment and okay. So this is what we're going to do. Y'all stay right there. I'm going to just refresh the feed and see if that fixes us. Okay. And if it doesn't, we'll keep going, but don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. That'll give more of you all time to jump in. Okay, that's 3 of you all say you are experiencing that. So let's see what happens. Okay. Okay, we're going to restart the feed. Let me take. All right, family, I'm back, and hopefully that's a little better. If not, we'll get through today, and I'll work on getting it fixed between today and tomorrow. It just could be the location of where I am in my house, and I got a few other little studio spots throughout the house. We'll try one of those tomorrow if that doesn't work. Yeah. So, what did you all do yesterday? You know what? I forced myself to do nothing, and I really, honestly spent probably the first part of that doing nothingness arguing with myself about what I needed to do, how I needed to do. And so what it was teaching us to just kind of overwhelm me. And so I said, no, we're going to sit, we're going to chill, we're going to be quiet, we're going to pray, we're going to meditate, we're going to and in my brain, I was like, okay, I can just do this. I got to do this. And my brain was just regurgitating and telling me over and over and over again what I needed to do. And it just was a huge problem. And so Brother Lamont said he reflected and rested. Yeah, but it took me a while to get to that reflection and resting moment. I still woke up at 4 a.m. And even after I did my prayer and my meditation, my brain just started going. Got to do this, got to do that, got to do this. I sat down for the first time in a while and actually watched some stuff. I watched Dave Chappelle's new special on Netflix. There was one other that I looked at, something I forget, but yeah. And so but I had to force myself. And so it really just taught me about how the subconscious mind to really, in keeping with our theme from Midnight Alignment, in case those of you who were on with us New Year's Eve, we talked about overriding the subconscious programs that are in our brains. And so I literally had a very strong exercise on that yesterday of just saying to myself, no, you're not going to worry about your to-do list today. And then I remember sitting down at one point, I got some tea and I said, okay, I'm just going to write out the to-do list. It's like, no. Asiria Shakir said, I reflected on the midnight alignment from 12/31. I would love to have the replay once it's available. Okay, there's a few little things that I'm just cleaning up with it, and then we'll make the replay available. And for those of of you all who all let me know what stuck out in your brain about midnight alignment. What aha moment did you have? What did you say, I'm that? How did it impact or affect you? That's for those of you all who chimed in. Regional Sky Girl says, ASA, unfortunately, I spent the entire day crying. I lost one of my closest friends' sisters on December 31st. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, sis. That's tough. And how are you feeling today? Mom says she prayed and reflected. How are you feeling today, Regional Sky Girl? I know it's probably just the shock of it. And then now you're just, flowing through and understanding that nothing comes here or leaves here without Allah's permission. And it's so easy to say that when you're not in the seat of having lost a loved one, but that is the reality. And unfortunately, a lot of times there's nothing that we can do about it. And because we know there's nothing we can do about it, we want to be found treating people a certain way on the other side. Yeah, we're really sorry for your loss, sis. Anybody else? What did you pick up from Midnight Alignment? What did you want to expand upon today? What did you notice that was happening with yourself? Like for me, like I said, once I went through the exercises, I was arguing with my subconscious mind all day, like literally all day. And Austin in a hotel room with a red face, red eyes, which are very swollen. I'm praying that they don't call me to fly today. Oh, okay, I understand. I pray that you get exactly what you need, sis, whether you need to get out and fly or whether you need another day to stay to yourself. I pray that Allah just flows through your life and gives you exactly what you need right now so that this situation that is so painful and hurtful, you can get to underneath all of it, which is the gift and love. There's always a blessing in everything that happens. And so the blessing is there, sis. You just have to get through some of the challenging parts to get to it and allow yourself to get to it. And I know it's hard, I know. Had to kind of, look, I'm in charge. I run this because I do a lot of subconscious programming with myself, and I'm very careful about programs that I watch, things that I engage in, places I go. Because I'm an empath, I don't go to places where there's a lot of low vibrational energy. I'm not a club goer or partier and stuff. So I try to stay out of those low vibrational environments because I have so many major things that I am working where they require me to be out over my skis, that I'm very careful about, over access to that low vibrational stuff, because what'll happen is, it'll end up impacting me, and then I won't make the right decision, or I'll slow things down, or, something like that. Sometimes in many, many cases, some of the things that I get these downloads that I need to go do, I have to become something else. And so in that becoming process, it's also important. And that's only because I'm an empath. Some people are really good at, they can go in and out of any environments. Nothing affects them. It don't matter to them. That's just me. And that's not a rule of thumb for everybody. But some people are just different. But for me, I'm super empathic. And so I have to be very careful And it took me a while to learn that. And then even once I learned it, it took me even a little longer to have the discipline to respond to it. So in other words, I've always known that I was super sensitive and that I was an empath. And I've always known that I could, that I would go places and pick up on things and stuff would impact me, or, I could be in a hotel room and pick up on energy. I've always known that about myself, but I have not always had the discipline to go, I can't do this or that. And because I'm a person, I try not to put a lot of rules in my life. I do put up guardrails, and I try to use, discipline in terms of what I expose myself to help put the guardrails around how I create and manifest. And so 2025 was a year for me of putting together quite a few things, program, one book got started, and then even into 2026, taking all of that to the next level is one of the goals. We've got some amazing programming for that inshallah you all will get an opportunity to enjoy. We're probably maybe 3 or 4 weeks out from having the database completed, where you'll be able to go out there and register your commemorative Elijah coin. They took off, the developer I'm working with, they took off for the holidays. So I think we're probably about 3 to 4 weeks away. And then we'll do that launch. Asira Shakira says, will you speak more on what does this mean to be super sensitive and impactful in environments, ma'am? I'll break it down into 2 parts. What it means to be super sensitive means that the way I am wired, and I'll speak about it from my perspective, the way I'm wired, I respond to levels of stimuli that maybe other people don't respond to. The psychology world calls it being an empath, but that means that, so when I hear different layers to the sound. If I hear a voice, I hear different layers to the sound. If I hear a presentation at a client's office, I hear different layers to what is being said. If you tell me about a conversation between 2 people, I'm getting additional flashes of information. And when I was very little, I literally would just kind of sit there very quietly. And I always had a habit of kind of looking up in my head, staring, like the general or the basic conversation. I'm hearing all what else is going on. And so when I moved into the corporate world, because I had gotten to the point where I had gone through a relationship that was really difficult. And it was because I couldn't turn off that hearing into everything, because there were so many people around us, around him, that had opinions, that were saying things, some not so good, some good, and it impacted me. And I remember when I decided to go deeper into, I think it was Study Guide 18, Rising Above Emotions into the Thinking of God, and then becoming an emotional intelligence coach, it clicked to me through something that I learned, and I don't remember what the instructor said, that this was a gift. And so with it being a gift, I started saying, oh, that's why sometimes when I'm sitting at the table at work and we're talking about a client, that I can hear things that maybe other people don't hear. I can see things that maybe other people don't see. And instead of looking at myself as being kind of weird and not liking it, that's really ego. I realized, I said, you know what? Everybody's special. And everybody got something that is special about them. This just happens to be one of your gifts. So why don't you turn it into an asset instead of stressing yourself out, resisting it? And so I started to really practice that. And the moment that I started to realize that everybody else is special is when I realized just how special I am. But I had to make sure that I wasn't competing. I wasn't making myself feel insecure. I wasn't trying to be something that I wasn't. I just said, everybody has some kind of gift, because this is not something I asked for. And Allah knows that, from the moment that I realized that I had it, if I could have turned it off and got rid of it, I would have turned it off and gotten rid of it. Because I didn't know how, as a little girl, oftentimes, how to handle what I was picking up. And so it took me on a lot of emotional roller coasters, especially once I got into that first serious relationship. So the second part of your question, I hope that answers. Let me know, what does this mean to be super sensitive? That's what it means to me. And then you said, and impactful in environments. So the impactful in environments, I'm going to handle that on both sides, because I'm not really sure what you mean. I can be more impactful in environments because now I'm accept who I am, and I'm utilizing that as a gift. Most of my friends know me. They'll just call me and say, look, let me tell you about this conversation, because they want to hear the other stuff that I may be picking up. And then there's other people who, like, they can't comprehend it. It doesn't make sense. And if I'm injecting what I'm hearing, they have a hard time talking to me because they think maybe I'm correcting them, or maybe I'm, but I'm impactful because I'm very detail oriented. Down to the granular level of detail. That's how I see things, how colors come together, and how work is done from a construction standpoint, what it looks like. I'm very, very detailed on that. When it comes to building business or putting together programming, I can see a couple chess moves ahead, and that's the gift I bring as an advisor. And as a person, but it's really a matter of being in the right environment, something that the environment desires. Okay, I was blessed because I think in the consulting world, the people who I work for, I think they saw it before I did. And so they would put me in situations where, and I know how impactful it would be, because I'd be sitting there at the table with the executives and the potential clients, or the clients, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the managers and partners outside of the glass in the conference room, going, why is she up in there? But I think early on, a lot of people in the corporate space saw that. So there's different ways that it can be impactful, interpersonally. It can be impactful here's the other thing I learned. I don't always share what I pick up. If I talk to you and I want to just have that open conversation, and that's just kind of way I feel like it feel like being, then I'll do that. But I don't always share what I'm picking up. I keep my mouth closed because a lot of times it may take me a while to discern whether or not this is something that is public, or if it's something that's just for me that I need to use as a compass. So I hope that helps. Let me know if it did. If you want anything expounded upon, any comments, any other questions about being in alignment and moving through this rugged terrain. I want you to think of it like this. Imagine you are going someplace and you don't really have the directions, or maybe the roads have all been torn up, so you can't go down 3 blocks and turn left, and like the GPS may be telling you to do. And you have to use your intuition to navigate yourself. And you got to, and so in using that intuition, that is what I believe, that as we move into this space where systems are failing, really what we're talking about is the fall of America. And the fall of America is the dismantling of these systems and the changing of power and income sources and economic sources and systems that we relied upon that maybe don't work anymore. And then on top of that, you have the powers that be that are trying to cushion the fall of America by throwing certain people overboard, by rapidly changing things. And so with this type of rapid changing environment, there's not a lot of goal setting and predictability that you can do. So once you decide, okay, this is what I'm driven to do, this is the direction I am being guided to go into, and this is in my mind what the goal is, now you have to use your creativity, you have to use your sensitivity, you have to use everything you can pull together from your supreme wisdom knowledge, your religious experiences, your personal experiences, to create guidance. You move forward in a way that is pleasing to Allah. The reason why I add that part is because it's so easy to just get thrown off. It's so easy for somebody to lead you in the wrong direction if you don't say, no, I got to be really focused on that I'm going in. So in The Art and Science of Business, the book, you see the QR code and the cover up here. I talk a lot about that from a business standpoint. And it may sound scary or complicated, but it actually makes it easier for us to be able to do for self. Because some of those systems that may have been blocking us aren't able to block us anymore. Now you got this whole thing going on with freedom of speech, where they don't have to tell you that you can't say certain things. They just have to control the distribution of information so that if you are giving a message that they don't necessarily like, or if you aren't connected to a gatekeeper, they can prevent people from seeing you. And then they put this thing on that says, well, if you don't have this many followers, or if you don't have this much exposure, what you're saying must not be that important. But if all the news outlets, whether they're local news or public news, are all kind of reporting the same thing, probably about 70% of the same content. If on the internet, you see everybody scrambling to report on and have conversations about the same thing, and each podcast kind of doing the same stuff over and over again. And then you have the outlets, whether it's social media or YouTube or any of them, that are saying, okay, if you talk about these top 10, if you start talking about things like doing for self, business, unraveling history, preserving history. We're going to keep the algorithm down so that nobody sees your stuff. And even your own family will think that what you're doing means nothing. So that's how they're impacting our freedom of speech, because the distribution channels are not necessarily going to be there. And then the concept is, okay, if you try to do it independently, we're going to block you. It's like on here, when we start talking about, if I put in the subject, when I program the show and I say we're talking about the art and science of business, and if I say we're talking about self-governance or separation, then all of a sudden there's all these technical difficulties. But if we talk about certain things like prayer and metaphysics and self-improvement, but on a more spiritual level, then they kind of let that go through. But it's just interesting. It's very interesting. If you start doing a lot of quoting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then they go, nope, we're not gonna, let anybody see this. There's been a lot of times where we will come on here and have beautiful conversations. I think we were reading some excerpts of the book one time, and I think we were talking about marketing. It's difficult being propaganda and news. And I got to know you violated community guidelines today. Nobody but your followers are going to see this show. So we have to spread this information around. I need you guys to grab the book. I need you to send the links out, send it around. We have to do this and kind of make this go viral. Not kind of, but make this stuff go viral ourselves. And there's also this false confidence when they also say, okay, you can sign up with one of our gatekeepers, and our gatekeepers were then, as long as our gatekeepers can, it's how your information gets out there. That's another way that they do it as well. But it's okay. We'll get it figured out. As long as you all understand that my perspective from the art and science of business is from my experience as a business person. I'm not a person who, and I'm not, no shade against anybody else. I'm not a person who just graduated from high school and just got into business and said, all right, I'm gonna start talking about do for self. I am literally somebody who has been studying business and been into business and worked in business and had businesses since I was a teenager. And the way that I was blessed to be able to curate my career put me in a lot of positions where I have a lot of experience. I've seen a lot of things, and so I'm not just talking, and I'm not like just trying to be a big public figure to get a lot of numbers so that you all can say, oh, yeah. Like what I'm talking about is really true life experience. And if you book a coaching session with me, if I'm working on one of your programs, I'm coming from real life experiences that I've had. And I've been very blessed because of how my career has been curated to have a lot of those experiences. Okay. Let's see. Amina Hanan says, curated communities help us avoid shadow bans. They do. I love the way you said that. Let me put that on the screen. That's right. And so that's really actually what we're doing here. And I see how they play with the numbers and the shadow banning and all of that. But the beautiful thing is that we spread this information. A lot of you have asked me to help with your businesses, working on some of those things. So it's good stuff. Even when it's interesting because we had quite a few events this year, even at the Elijah Muhammad House. And when I put out like the year-end newsletter, a couple people said, wait, all that was happening this year? And it's a curated community. And it's a powerful curated community. And I think it's going to be very beautifully interesting to see how things flow this year, from the art and science of business that is really all about helping us do for self, all about helping us do business in a manner that pleases Allah, all about me just getting out of my system what Allah has put inside of me and allowing others to take advantage of it and to experience it, and not for me to just sit it up on the shelf. So I'm not this is not fake stuff over here. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I normally don't flex, y'all know that, but I see so many people that are connected to gatekeepers who put big numbers out there, and then I'm listening to the presentation and what they're saying, and it's not necessarily something that's going to really help somebody build the community, build a strong, sustainable business, govern themselves. It's a lot of theory, a lot of ideas, and there's nothing wrong with that, because theory and ideas, we need those. But it's a little different from what I do and what I offer to the community. So thank you for that, Amira Hanan. Yes, you're right. Amina Hanan, you're right. Curated communities help us avoid shadow bans. Yes, yes, and yes. All right. Any other questions, comments from Midnight Alignment? Anything you want to ask me? Anything you want to talk about? We're going to continue this tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to do a little bit of reading from Art and Science of Business. But I'm happy to answer any questions today and any comments and just anything you experience. Like I said at the beginning of this conversation, I experienced my subconscious just kind of unfolding yesterday, and I was literally arguing with my subconscious most of the day. So even while I was trying to reflect, my subconscious was like, well, you know, you need to be doing this and that. You know, you should be doing da 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 da. And we were having this kind of schizophrenic type of argument yesterday. Okay, so I told you all about the coins. We're probably about 3 to 4 weeks away from having that database built. So that's almost done. So you'll be able to go out there. A couple of programs. One program that's going to be announced is our Windows to the World program. We've got 32 windows that we could not repurpose and reuse on the building. And so we're going to be taking those and inviting those of you who are artists to paint or create artwork out of those windows. It'll have a little label on it. It's like a little brass label that says, you know, from the former home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, 4847 South Woodlawn. We're going to be rolling that program out, and you all will get a chance to then see an exhibit from these artists who express themselves based on what the windows said to them when they saw them or received them. So we're working through that. That's actually going to end up being an exhibit. And then you'll be able to purchase those pieces of artwork that are actually Elijah Muhammad. So that's the Windows to the World project. We're going to be launching that very, very soon. I'm just waiting for the weather to break a little bit, only because, you know, when it's cold, it's a little hard for people to move around, and we want the artists to be able to pick up their, you know, their windows. We are not going to be the kind of people that disrespect the fact that many of these artists, this is how they feed families. So the percentage split of the artwork will be a respectful split. And so if you know artists and painters and um, anybody like that, I would suggest you tell them, go to Elijah Muhammad House, get on our mailing list so that when the information goes out about what it is that we're working on, and we'll launch a live event. But that's one of the bigger projects this year that is going to be it's going to be amazing. But you all know we've been working on the documentary, and we got a few things that we're working through, not to mention the very near completion of the home. We're almost at the point where we're going to do some antiquing, and we're going to create these lookbooks, because you know how it is when you go to these antique malls, it's easy to get carried away. So if everybody who goes on the antiquing trip with us to curate the items for the home, they'll have a lookbook, and so we'll all know what we're looking for, right? So we don't just send out, but we actually have curated that for the 60s, and so those in a lookbook. But that's another fun thing, and we're going to offer our sponsors an opportunity to participate in the that curation process. So that should be some fun. But look, it's all about fun and having high vibrations. Tomorrow, Sister Alita's not here, but she and I are launching the Work Ready, Wealth Ready Fellowship Program, which is for 14, I think, to 21, 22-year-olds. We're launching that with the Coleman Carradine Foundation, and it is rooted in the foundation system that Sister developed called Club Blue Wealth. Some of you all that know her have seen the marketing and stuff like that for that. And we're going to use some of that same system and bring some mastermind workshops this summer that we'll be able to host at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. And when you come there, you'll get like a 2-day, like a day retreat, dinner. You'll get the tour. You'll get these mastermind workshops. It's going to be amazing. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad great-grandson, Hamza Muhammad, is an excellent artist that can draw his great-grand to the exact. I will reach out to him. Thank you so much. That'll be amazing. And if he, it's got to be on a window. So keep that in mind. So however he wants to use or manipulate the canvas, but he has to have the window, do it on the window. So that's why we're calling it Windows to the World. But, he's an artist, so I'm sure he can be creative with that. Sister Nala, Happy New Year, sis. Okay, family. So lots of great things happening in 2026. Are really just pushing us to go into our authenticity, go into and rise into that godlike space so that we're moving like gods. There's going to be a lot of people losing their minds this year. There's going to be a lot of people doing crazy stuff this year. We're going to feel like we're in La La Land. And so it's going to be very important that, number one, we have these curated communities and curated support groups, but then that we also are rooted and utilizing our supreme wisdom and the teachings and the way of Allah as guardrails for ourselves, just in case we are one of them that finds ourselves losing it a little bit. But I think we're going to see more of that this year as the chaos ensues. Okay, Regional Sky Girl said, Windows to the World sounds so beautiful. There was a young sister at Muhammad Mosque 45 the other day for Kwanzaa celebration. And during the celebration, she was on the day is painting a beautiful window. I will tell her. Okay, praise be to Allah. Thank you, Regional Sky Girl. Please tell her. We have a few sponsors at Muhammad Mosque number 45. So they will definitely be, and I may come down there to do like a soft launch at Muhammad Mosque number 45, because we do have so many sponsors and supporters there in Houston. Okay. Brother Ronald said, keep up prayer and the striving for righteousness. Yes, yes, and yes. That prayer is going to be very important. That communication, those extra skills, even with our businesses, being creative, aligning, moving beyond our intellectual capacity is going to be critical, and it's going to be key. And we have here a network that can help you with ideas, because here's the other thing. You always want to be injecting new energy and new ideas into your business, because sometimes you can get on a hamster wheel and you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And while it may very well be going well, it may not be bringing you more revenue. It may not be expanding you. It may not be allowing you to go to that next level. So having conversations with a coach like myself or somebody else that you see that maybe you work with, because here's the other piece of it. Everybody is not for everybody. Okay. There are some people who meet me that say, oh my gosh, I just love working with you and you're perfect. There are other people who meet with me who go, she ain't really my cup of tea. I use this coach. I have a lot of men, which I'm so grateful to see, that Black men are the fastest growing number of entrepreneurs in the country, and actually in the world right now. That statistic came out yesterday. Sorry about that. But what's interesting about that is that I think I told you guys how when I wrote my first book and I was on the radio in Washington, D.C., we were talking and trying to figure out like what endorsements I could do. And you know how you have to read commercials and things like that. And it was so interesting that I actually thought that the business would be launched to and would be most attractive to other Black women like myself. That was my naivete. But what we started to find was that my demographic was mostly men, and that it trended younger. And that was not something that I actually planned on, but I went with it because that was the way Allah made the book and the movement, the Mind of an Entrepreneur movement, attractive. It did not start off being attractive to Black women. It began being extremely attractive to Black men. And most of the time, even today, when I get speaking engagements, or most of my coaching clients are men. Even in the healthcare space, I was able to curate a patient flow that was primarily men. And that was not something that I planned on. And then I started to dissect, how I see the man, especially the Black man. And I realized this was the gift that came out of this. I realized that I am extremely blessed to have been greatly impacted by Black men in my entire life. From career to my father growing up, to my spiritual father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, to mentors like Dr. George Fraser and Bill Mays, and even to just having a quick meeting with, may Allah be pleased with, Mayor for Life, Marion Barry, right before he transitioned, and the advice. But I've always been poured into by Black men, which even in relationships became an issue, because, that's something that my man has to understand, that men pour into me and gravitate towards me. But I was so used to it and so used to living in that world that I didn't even think that it would apply to the book. And it did. So, it's all about how Allah makes you and what he wants for you. But I have a tremendous amount of respect and love for Black men. I'm one of these sisters that love me some brothers, and I am so grateful for them and for what they've been in my life and continue to be. And I'm embracing that even more so moving forward in 2026. Sister Amina says, sometimes we're forced into greatness. People see things in us that we in ourselves. I have a client that says, let them people drag you to greatness. Amen. I love that. Let them people drag you to greatness. That's exactly right. Because you thinking you going one direction and you thinking, or you may, even here's the other piece. My own personal insecurity of, I'm not married. I don't have any children. And I've always wanted to be married and have children. And the circles I've been in, it just didn't work out because I don't date outside my race. And so that became a challenge. And so even it became a little bit of an insecurity. So when I put the book out and the Mind of an Entrepreneur movement began, and we started seeing the overwhelming demographic of Black men that gravitated towards the book and towards the radio station and all of that stuff, I was shocked. And I realized that I let my insecurity impact my target market for the book. Interesting, right? And so I had to unravel some of that stuff and then really begin to embrace the audience that Allah gave me. Dress code said, Happy New Year, family, overflowing love, peace, blessings, and success. That's right. We got about 4 minutes left. I'm happy to share, talk about anything. I just wanted this to be not a we keep using this word today. I think Sister a free flow. I actually love doing live Q&A. And I don't do it as much on here. When I was on radio, I love practicing, just connecting and tuning in with people. Even when we used to do the live Q&A, it would be all brothers on the phone. And okay, we have a female, she can sell earrings or certain soaps and stuff. And I was like, that probably won't work with me. So the stuff that I ended up being able to be good at selling was stuff that was very, interesting to Black men. And so I totally accept to be y'all's girl, brothers. Let's see. Brother Ronald said, we are in the process of repairing the Black man. Only a few of us left. Appreciate your work. All praises due to Allah. We are in the process. And I think that the brothers are doing good. Unfortunately, there's a lot of magnification on the brothers that are not doing well, but there's a lot of brothers that are doing extremely well. They ain't on the party scene. They ain't out in the club. They're not somewhere trying to shake it and bake it. They're in those intellectual incubated spaces where they are being mindful and careful about what they're exposed to. So you're not going to find them in the path of wretchedness. You're not going to see them there. They're somewhere else, like here. I can't tell you how many brothers have said to me, email me and sent emails. Hey, are you having a booth at Savior's Day? Are you going to be in Savior's Day? Like, it's incredible. And it's not just Muslim brothers that I've been blessed to impact, but brothers from all walks of life. And like I said, I think my insecurity blinded me towards that as even an opportunity. And when I remember sitting with the marketing person at the radio station, and she was like, would you look at this? And even to this day, if you pull up, and I pull up my YouTube statistics, Facebook, all of that, it's like 65, 70% men. And the age ranges are big too. So I'm grateful. Look, I'm happy to be y'all's girl. I love brothers. I'm not one of those sisters that can't stand black men. I'm about the brothers. I'm about the support and upliftment of our brothers. And I don't buy into this this whole concept of, hating on men. I see a lot of brothers raising children by themselves. I see a lot of brothers doing well in their children's lives. I see a lot of brothers opening up businesses. I see a lot of brothers trying to walk a right path. I see a lot of brothers working to heal one another. I see a lot of brothers trying to do right by their families. And unfortunately, when we poll women, oftentimes we're polling women who are not in spaces where they are. They're not watching the same kind of programs that we could think of. Some of this ratchetness that we see on TV, a lot of brothers aren't watching that. Like I said, Brother Ronald just said that's right. They're not in the ratchet places that you would think, but they are out there and they are doing a good job. A lot of brothers are returning citizens. They've made mistakes in their past life, and now they're working on cleaning themselves up and getting themselves together and just being more. It's a lot. We have now we have trades that are opening up for brothers more so, because it's funny, because now when you go to Home Depot, it's all brothers up in there. I don't know where everybody else at. I don't know. Maybe it's the effect of ice. I'm not sure, but so brothers are in the trades. They're doing for self. And so I support that. We support that. And whatever we can do to continue to share and show the brothers that we love them, we support them. We want to see you all do well. And not all Black women are out here hating on y'all. Okay. So George Jackson is here, says, good morning, everyone. Levi Harvin says, happy New Year. And Levi Harvin also says, Assalamu alaikum. So thank you, everyone. It is time to go. I will, inshallah, be back tomorrow morning. We'll work on, I already put out there that we was going to do a read from the Art and Science of Business. So the algorithm already knows that they may be trying to mess us up technically, but I'll see what I can do to work on it and fix it. And just join the mailing list. You see the websites going across the bottom. Just stay close, because this is actually, probably becoming a little bit more of a private community. We reserve the right to go, you can't come in here disrupting our peace. But I want to learn more about your businesses so that we can support. There'll be an opportunity in the database when people register their commemorative Elijah coin with that individual number. I want to be able to offer them discounts to other Black businesses as well. So they'll get, benefits to the Elijah Muhammad House, but they'll also get benefits to Black businesses. So we're going to be rolling that out as well. Okay, so once this is done, that database is done. There are coins left if you want to get your coin. You just need to go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com, scroll down to the bottom where it says shop with us, and you'll be able to get that. Okay. All right, family. Love you all. See you all, inshallah, tomorrow. Make sure you support. You can hit the super chat button. You can support via Cash App or Zelle. Support the movement. Support what we do. If you want to book me for business advisory, business development services, you all know my background. If I'm your cup of tea, You can do that. Go to sajdawendymuhammad.com. Let's see. Any other comments in here? Gracias. Oh, Sister Amina done broke out the Spanish on us. I'm not even about to read it. Brother Ronald says, love you, sis. But she said, gracias. Mi hermano. Feliz Abu Nuevo Familia. I think I did okay with that. I know what she's saying. Happy New Year, sis. Okay. May Allah bless each and every one of you, and we will see you all soon, inshallah. Support somebody today. Love on somebody today. You can be an anonymous donor to somebody today. Bless somebody today in a way that they didn't think the blessings was coming to them. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all.